What is Black Death bubonic plague? Plague is an infectious disease caused by a specific type of bacterium called Yersinia pestis. Why pestis can affect humans and animals and is spread mainly by fleas. Bubonic plague is one type of plague. It gets its name from the swollen lymph nodes buboes caused by the disease. The nodes in the armpit, groin, and neck can become as large as eggs and can ooze pus. The other types of plague are septicemic plague, which happens when the infection goes all through the body. Pneumonic plague, which happens when lungs are infected. How does Black Death affect humans? The Black Death, a historic pandemic caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, had devastating effects on humans. It spread rapidly through infected fleas or direct contact with infected animals or people. The disease manifested in several forms. Bubonic plague characterized by painful swollen lymph nodes, fever, chills, headache, fatigue, and muscle aches. Septicemic plague resulting in fever, chills, abdominal pain, shock, and blackened skin from internal bleeding. Pneumonic plague, a severe form affecting the lungs, leading to symptoms such as cough, difficulty breathing, chest pain, and respiratory failure. Left untreated, the Black Death often resulted in severe complications like sepsis, gangrene, and organ failure with a high mortality rate. Seeking prompt medical attention and preventive measures such as avoiding contact with rodents and fleas remain crucial in managing the impact of this deadly disease. What are the symptoms of bubonic plague? The symptoms of bubonic plague are suddenly feeling very hot with chills, pain in the belly, arms, and legs, headaches, swollen lumps in the lymph nodes called buboes that get big and leak pus. For septicemic plague, symptoms might include blackened skin from tissue dying, usually in the fingers or toes, or bleeding in strange places. People with pneumonic plague might have trouble breathing and cough up blood. Sometimes they might feel sick to their stomach and throw up. What causes bubonic plague? Bubonic plague is a type of sickness caused by a germ called Yersinia pestis. Why? Pestis. It spreads mostly through fleas on animals like rats and mice. When these fleas bite humans, they can give them the plague. This sickness is an example of a disease that can go from animals to people, called a zoonotic disease. Cats, especially, can get sick from the plague by eating infected rodents. These cats can then pass on the sickness to their owners or to vets who take care of them. Usually the plague doesn't spread from person to person, except in rare cases where someone has infected lungs called pneumonic plague and spreads the sickness through the air. There have been a few rare cases where people got pneumonic plague from their dogs or cats. How is bubonic plague treated? Bubonic plague can be treated and cured with antibiotics. If you're diagnosed with it, you'll go to the hospital and get antibiotics. Sometimes you might need to stay in a special room by yourself. The antibiotics that can treat bubonic plague are ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, gentamicin, doxycycline. What happens if bubonic plague isn't treated? Bubonic plague can be deadly if it's not treated. It can spread infection all over your body called septicemic plague or infect your lungs called pneumonic plague. Without treatment, both septicemic plague and pneumonic plague can kill you. How can bubonic plague be prevented? You can take the following steps to prevent bubonic plague. Keep your home and yard clean so rodents and wild animals don't hang around. Clean up clutter and don't leave food out. Use flea control products for your pets, especially if they go outside a lot. If your pets get sick, take them to the vet right away. Don't let pets that go outside sleep in your bed. If you have to touch dead animals, wear protective clothes like gloves. If you're going into areas where there might be fleas, use insect repellent that has DEET or permethrin. How did the Black Death spread? The Black Death was very contagious and didn't care who it infected. Just touching someone's clothes could spread the disease, as described by Boccaccio. It was also very fast. People who felt fine at night could be dead by morning. Does the Black Plague still exist? The Black Death epidemic ended around the early 1350s, but the plague kept coming back every few generations for many years. Nowadays, better sanitation and health practices have helped a lot, but the disease still exists. Even though we have antibiotics to treat it, the World Health Organization says there are still 1,000 to 3,000 cases of plague every year. What is the incubation period for plague? When someone gets bubonic plague, they usually start feeling sick 2 to 8 days later. If it's the more serious septicemic plague, they might feel sick within a few days. Breathing in the plague germ can make someone sick in just 1 to 3 days. If bubonic plague isn't treated, the germs can get into the blood and spread fast, causing septicemic plague. This can be really serious and even deadly. Bubonic plague can also turn into pneumonic plague, where the lungs get infected. Without the right antibiotics, any type of plague can quickly lead to death.